We believe in peace through strength. You have to have the strength. I believe it is God's job to sit in judgment, my job to defend America, and to, we believe. We believe in peace through strength. You have to have the strength. I believe it is God's job to sit in judgment, my job to defend America, and to promote the fundamental interest of stability, prosperity, and peace. We had 52 days of thunder and lightning on the Houthi.
Okay. I think we were getting some technical issues, but we'll continue from there. Maybe we can play that video again. Good afternoon to everyone. Good evening to those who are having an evening, and very late night morning to people watching in Pakistan and India. So recently, Trump made a visit to both UAE and Saudi Arabia, and we're going to discuss that in regards to where that meeting will ended up, where it's going to go, how it progressed, what it means for the rest of the globe, what kind of deals were basically struck, what does it mean for China, and he's made some interesting statements in regards to Pakistan as well as India on that as well. And again, with that, we're going to start to also have a look at the recent visit of Jaishankar with the Taliban. And we're going to look at an extended region all the way up from the Middle East to South Asia, involving China, global players like United States, and we'll go from there. I think we've got the video ready. So that video is a self-explanation of what was discussed in those places and everything. So we're
God's job to sit in judgment, my job to defend America, and to promote the fundamental interest of stability, prosperity, and peace. We had 52 days of thunder and lightning on the Houthis in Yemen like they've never seen before. This was a swift, ferocious, decisive, and extremely successful use of military force. So we hit them hard, we got what we came for, and then we got out. The gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits. The birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves. Peace, prosperity, and progress ultimately came not from a radical rejection of your heritage, but rather from embracing your national traditions and embracing that same heritage that you love so dearly.
So that was that. We all heard what was going on in regards to that. What he's making it sound like a trade, as well as he's very honest in terms of strategy and everything else. In this same week, we've seen Mr. Golani meet President Trump as well. So Harun, I'm going to go to you first. And I would like your opinion in regards to where do you see this headed? How do you see, and what's the purpose of this grandeur kind of a visit to the Middle East with all the shenanigans? You can see the welcomes, you can see the kind of imagery which is being projected. Is United States trying to reimpose its hegemony as a superpower by trying to conduct a situation for the Middle East to show them it's a better bet to be with them? Go ahead.
First of all, hello to everyone, Shaji, Maham, and Aditya. Well, the question is very multifaceted. Actually, it's a very detailed, long answer, but I will take it short for the begin. I think we don't see something new in regarding Trump. If you remember when he took his first term, his direction was again the same region, especially the Middle East, starting with Saudi Arabia. If you guys remember the famous dances he did with the royal family to that time, and then Salman's visit to United States, and Trump's, holding pictures with some defense products and saying the numbers of billions and billions contracts, etc. So this is a typical Trump-made business. I don't think that Trump's regime or the new kind of American bureaucracy so much cares about the superpower position, but much more about to, especially over the Trump regimes and how their mentality is, how they are seeing the world is, to making business and deals. That's their first target. So that's also the reason why Trump is looking totally different than Biden administration towards Ukraine-Russia issue, towards the Israeli-Palestine issue, towards the India-Pakistan issue, and many other conflicts around the world. He calls himself many times as the peacemaker, even though there is no real result until today, be it on the Ukraine, crisis or in the Palestine crisis. But we know for sure that he is not in favor for new wars, new conflicts. Instead, he is looking to the world like a chessboard in business, and he wants to make deals. So in his first term, like I said before, he has visited again these Middle East powers, especially oil-rich countries who have this cash, direct cash, who can pay immediately for these products, what the United States is offering or selling. So, and this would make Trump in his first months already very strong inside of the United States by showing off that he has collected a lot of money from various nations, but especially the oil-rich Middle East countries. So in one way, it is to position itself very strong inside of United States, showing people that he is bringing money in, that he is bringing new work in, that he is bringing, again, new perspective for the defense industry of the United States, and all without any starting new wars. So I think this is more an image tour than positioning itself as, again, the new superpower or the remaining superpower. I don't think that the Trump administration had this kind of view, at least for now. So what is the difference between his first term and now? In his first term, he tried the same, but if you guys remember, the American bureaucracy was filled with many actually democratic ideas and people. So they have stopped him, even inside of his party, in the Congress. Many Republicans, because Trump was a new guy in the House, and his policy making was not in favor for everyone. So even inside of his party, there were many critics. But now, after facing the Biden administration and all the conflicts, the pandemics, and how they managed many things inside of the United States, people were full in anger, so that the Trump regime came this time with much more support than it was in his first term. So that reason also makes him stronger in the Congress, inside of his own party, also among neutral, apolitical people inside of the United States. So these months, I think he will spend more time to construct the, trust for his image, show the people that he is getting this money without any conflict parties, like going inside Iraq, starting new wars in Afghanistan, or, other aspects what the Democrats or maybe the old neocon Republicans did. But time will show, because I have there a big question mark. We can enlarge on this subject maybe later, because the Trump administration has not the exact quality to bring all this back to the United States, especially the production, manufacturing capacity, etc. Because when I see the Trump administration, it is mostly consisting of his own friends from his private life who are coming to their positions, not with much experience from past. But I understand on one side why he is doing it, because the traumas from his first term, that he cannot trust anyone in the system. So most probably he will try to do with his own friends inside of the politics. But let's look what the American deep state will tell later, or what their plan is, or if they really agree the new way of the American style what Trump is leading. That would be my first input for that subject.
Thank you very much, Harun. That's very interesting. So do you think this is going to have any regional implications? What would be the regional implications? And you don't see that there is kind of a sway to bring the Arab world closer in terms of trade and a strategic impact compared to what China has been doing with them?
Well, I think the competition between the Chinese and the Americans will continue. Also, this is also valid for the Middle East. But I think with the Trump regime, the United States will have an upper hand, because if you remember, during the Biden regime, most of the Middle East nations, their contact with that regime and Antony Blinken and Biden was not so well. And most of them were waiting actually for a second term of Trump. And so the relations were just going, most of the time neutral. And including the conflict with Israel-Palestine that has also endangered the Middle East nations, and the Saudi Arabians stepped back from a peace deal with the Israelis. But now Trump is back, and Trump has an understanding, especially with the royal family, because they're doing things in the same style. Maybe Trump cannot do it exactly in his own home, because the American system has still a parliament, etc., etc. So, but yeah, they are thinking same. They are on the same line. So I think the Middle Eastern nations who were rolling more towards China during the Biden regime will reset their relations again with the United States. But how far they can go, especially when I have given the example that the Trump administration have not this deep experience in foreign policy, except maybe Marco Rubio, who is most of the time sidelined in this subject, because Trump is using more close friends of his in making these policies and decisions. So with this team, on long term, only the deals or business won't be enough to rescue the image of the United States, what was destructed in the last 20 years during the Bush administration, Obama administration, and lastly with the Biden administration. So they need to have an understanding. Why I've given this example, especially before he was elected, he was talking always big about that Biden has created the war in Ukraine, Russia, which is maybe partially true, not entirely, but how he has handled, etc. He was, criticizing that and was saying always that he can solve that issue in only 24 hours. But it's been now several months and there is no peace plan on the table. Like you see, Putin is still not attending the, conferences in Istanbul. And he's even demanding more because Trump has given this courage to demand more. And about the Gaza plan in Palestine, he has talked a lot that he wants to make this an entertainment land and construction, etc. But no clear planning what will be after and the end result, because Netanyahu regime is asking still for the removal of all of the people towards Egypt or Lebanon or Jordania. So all of these subjects seems not to be solved, and I think Trump Trump's image tour right now is also about to cover this up a bit, because this image was shaken a bit, especially after he couldn't bring anything on the table really, after, attacking Zelensky in White House, if you remember, towards the Ukraine crisis, also not to the Palestine crisis. And the last incident was, like you guys know, especially in your region, the Pakistan-Indian conflict, what was going on, and still there are tensions high. And he had a call. Nobody knows what exactly. I have my suspicions. Most probably he has threatened with economic incentives, etc. Both nations. So it might be they have backed down, but even there is no solution. And he is talking to every conflict in the world. If you remember, like since thousands of years, the Arabs and Jews are fighting. Since thousands of years, the Indians and Pakistanis are fighting. Even though there were these nations were not existing to that time. But yeah, this is his approach. He has no idea about these regions in depth, and he thinks that he can go anywhere and make deals and throw these deals and business. That these nations are, will prefer to make business instead of war. This is an easy look towards the world. Maybe from an American way of life, people would say in Texas or California or anywhere else, why these people are fighting? Let's do money. And that would be American way of life. In the brighter world, when you look, there are so many ethnic problems, so many religious issues, so many border problems. It's not so easy like Trump or his administration is thinking. So these are the challenges of Trump. But we are still at the beginning. Let's look how they will continue, and if the American bureaucratic world will agree and will allow him to do so, time will show only.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, I'll come to Aditya. And Aditya, you've heard what Haroon has said, and you heard what Donald Trump basically made in terms of a statement to Saudi Arabia and the whole thing. Do you think because Donald Trump has failed to deliver that ceasefire with Putin, in like he thought it's going to be a walk in the park, is why he's taking credit over and over for the Pakistan and India ceasefire?
Thank you so much for having me, and hello everyone. And coming to the question that you just put up, I believe that is exactly the case. So he wants to to come out as a person who brokers deals, who is solving problems, who is resolving conflicts,
Conflict.
and since he the two of the conflicts that he promised that he will solve, the one in Gaza and the other one in Ukraine, and he's not able to deliver either of those two. So my understanding is that it's one of the reason why in the last 2 weeks you would have noticed his discomfort with Netanyahu, and his first foreign trip to Middle East also has some connotation to why he chose to visit Middle East as his first foreign trip, and not not continents like Europe or South America or Israel or anywhere in Asia, but the Middle East. So it's a lot of it is usually posturing, because I believe Trump is a stick and the carrot guy. He will offer you the carrot. If you don't fall for it, then he'll try to use the stick. So the to take the credit of somewhere he's trying to solve the problem. Maybe he's taking some time in Europe or in the Middle East, the both their conflicts. So in the meanwhile, he can take credit for averting a nuclear war between Pakistan and India. And let's be honest, we both know that it was always supposed to be a very short conflict. Even if you hear Marco Rubio speak about this conflict from, like, just like 4 days before the, like, the real attack started. He even confirmed that that it anything that happens between these two countries will be a very limited interaction. And it was always supposed to be like, India might like attack, Pakistan will retaliate, and then there will be some kind of negotiations, and they will broker the peace, and, like, everybody go home as a winner. So I'm not saying that, and if anybody is not sure about it, they can Google it about the statement that was already made. So, but still, Trump wants to create wants to prove that it was more than that, and then again he wants to come out as somebody who's brokering deal, who's looking for peace. So that's my understanding that what he's trying to do here.
So would you say Trump did not have anything to do with the deal, or what it was? Because one thing strikes me, and I think a lot of Pakistanis as well as Indians are not considering that. I think it's by default. Nobody can change it. He had something to do with it. Otherwise, he would not be announcing it. Neither did India announce it, and neither did Pakistan.
So India and Pakistan, India for sure is like firmly in the western camp. Let's be honest, like, India is not going to have, like, any kind of deals with China. And China exports like around 110 billion dollar worth of goods to India, and India exports barely 10 or 11 or 12 billion dollar worth of. So our what we import from China is, like, 95% of the things are that we need. It's not what we want. It's our needs. It's the everyday basics that we import. And the second biggest import that India does is the things that we add value to and export to the western countries. Like, even if we are, like, manufacturing iPhones, for example, it's not that we are manufacturing it, we are assembling it, or we might be adding some value to it. Probably we are manufacturing some kind of batteries or microphones, or probably, like, these small charger.
But
So
but
we are adding.
but
Yes.
my question would be, sorry, I'm interjecting. If for example, do you think it's the trade which forced India to get a ceasefire, or what?
But that's, I think that's a wrong question. And Trump making that statement itself is, it's fraudulent, to be
Doesn't fit
honest.
well, does it? It doesn't really
Yeah,
fit. Hmm.
because everybody knows that India is looking for a trade deal with America, and India believes that, it will be the biggest beneficiary who will come out of these conflict, where we know that, Trump is thinking of, like, implementing a huge tariff on people or countries who trade with United States of America. So India believes that, it can be the hub of, like, the low level or cheap manufacturing hub that China has been for the longest time. And India believes that, at least on the lower front, or, like, the cheaper products, it can be that factory for the Western world. So it always had that idea to, like, have a trade deal. And even just last week, if you remember, India had a trade deal signed with United Kingdom. India is in a very later stage talks of a trade deal with the Europeans. And even confirmed by Trump even before the conflict, that there might be, like, trade deal that will be confirmed before September or October between India and America. So it was always on the table, the trade deal. He might have, like, pushed or pulled some levers, Donald Trump, with India to, like, complete it, or, like, finish the conflict before time that India imagined. That could be the case. I'm not pretty sure, but he wanted to take the credit, and it was never supposed to last a very long time. this conflict. So he can take credit. And of course, they were in the loop. Even when Marco Rubio, when he visited, when he called both the sides, and when he spoke to, the representatives of both the sides, he was already claiming a lot of things. So he knew what is happening, and he was in the talk. So it's not that Trump didn't knew at, what stage these conflicts are. So he always knew.
Okay. Yeah, very, very interesting. Madara.
Uh,
Madara. Hi.
can you hear me?
Yes. So, Madara, what do you think of the entire Trump visit and the claim for Pakistan-India ceasefire, and what,
I
how do
mean,
you see that
yeah.
will go? Yeah, go
First, I talk about the ceasefire. I really don't think that Trump did negotiated for some kind of peace between India and Pakistan. I don't think. I don't believe him. He just wrote something probably because the state government, the state department in and probably like the foreign secretary or like a lot of people in USA probably they have like huge interest in Pakistan and India. They were probably talking to both India and Pakistan, but Trump announcing it, it's just a like a weird thing. I really don't think that he did anything like he did not. He I don't think that he forced anyone to take this chance. But for India side, I think I mean it's not. It was never in India's interest to escalate this conflict any further. Probably also not in Pakistani's interest. So probably like they just came to the kind of a mutual conclusion that they both can declare victory and then just uh, I mean like how they like probably they did multiple times in cross border shootings in Kashmir and so on. The thing I like, what I think about Trump in Middle East, I think probably like most of the Middle Eastern countries, they understand Trump. Probably they understand Trump. They were just like showering with all the praise and showing everything. Probably they want to have some kind of solution in Israel-Palestine conflict, especially Qatar. And Trump's main interest will be like to have keep these people investing in USA, so the dollar keeps dollar is still strong. So I mean the Middle Eastern countries and USA they have a very special connection, you know. Uh, so Trump's visit is just to strengthen that further. It's not to strengthen it further. It's just
So
to
I
to
would like to
re-establish it.
I would like to ask you a question. So if Trump just announced it and it wasn't a ceasefire for him, then why did Pakistan and India stop after his tweet?
Because both of them want to have a half front. Because neither of them wanted to escalate this any further. I mean, Pakistan
That
jumped on
means he
us
did
like
stop it.
really. Look, it's not I like my view on this personal view, but I also think that the Indian government there is really nothing that Indian government can get anything from this. I'm really not sure what Indian government get from this, what India get from this. It's a lose-lose situation if India and Pakistan keep escalating the situation. There is like really no winner here. So both of them maybe probably like desire. I mean, it's only the only people who are disappointed from this are I don't know, like deranged people in India and Pakistan who think that they will get some definitive victory, more on the side of India because the terrorist attack happened in India, so Pakistanis do not have that kind of feeling. But yeah,
Okay, thank you very much. With that, I'm going to move to Maham, and the question is in relation to Taliban. and Mr. Jaishankar making a very friendly presence in Taliban, with Taliban, and trying to portray as Taliban a regime which India does not even officially recognize as their biggest allies. But when we listen to the statement passed by the Taliban, all they said was that they condemned the terror attack which occurred in Kashmir, just like I think every sane country rejects that and condemns that, including Pakistan. Now, the question being, when they haven't said anything, where is this alliance coming from? And isn't this a huge contradiction? Go ahead.
Sorry, I was muted. So, like they say, enemy of your enemy is your friend. So, over here, knowing what Pakistan and Afghanistan have always been doing to each other, um, of course, they think that there's possibility that Afghanistan might give them bases or thank you. So, of course, they think that Afghanistan might give them an opportunity to corner Pakistan. That's one theory that I have. Because right now, Afghanistan haven't given India any kind of basis, but it can be used, right? And just like India is surrounded by enemies, like all of the countries that are surrounding India, they don't like India. So I think that's what they're trying to do with Pakistan by surrounding it with enemies. China, they can do much, but Afghanistan, why not? They're already Afghanistan, uh, and Afghanistan needs allies. Like just recently, the Afghan foreign minister asked Russia to invest in Afghanistan in infrastructure and everything. So Afghanistan is in no position to pick and choose right now. They need whatever help they can get, and I think India is using that opportunity to make friends with them, which is very, very ironic because they were talking about Pakistan exporting terrorism to the world, and now they're going to go with certified terrorists and make friends with them. There are even these ministers on Twitter, Indian, they're calling Taliban feminist in Afghan cultural context. So I think it's all about using as much as they can. And right now, the present government, they think that it can be used against Pakistan or whatever they're planning. Maybe it was just to make friends out of Afghanistan. To just so you know, there was also this suicide attack today in Peshawar, in Chamkani. So it kind of feels like they might be using Afghanistan for that, but because I mean, it's pretty well known that India has been using proxies as well to cause chaos in Pakistan. Kulbhushan is one case, and so I think India is taking advantage of the fact that Afghanistan is in no position to say no, and Afghanistan have always disliked Pakistan, so that's really easy. Like I said, enemy of my enemy is my friend. So that's what India is trying to do.
Okay, that's interesting. Aditya, how do you reconcile with the fact that your country has now gone into a heartland of a regime when they were coming into power? Indians were the most loud voice, one of the most loudest voices in condemning the Americans for letting that happen and signing the Doha Agreement, accusing Pakistan of forcibly cheating the democratic Afghan people out of a democratic governance system, and them in hands of extremists. How does 3.5 years, almost 3.5 years, uh, do a complete 180 degrees shift and justify that policy?
I think it was never about the Afghan Taliban to begin with. Like India always had good relations with Taliban, even in the 90s and 2000s, right? So India, I believe India would have preferred the previous government have these negotiations and deals or whatever that India's interests are in Afghanistan. But since Taliban took over, I think they knew that they have to negotiate with whoever is in the power, and Taliban's history is well known, and I don't need to like comment on that. Tomorrow's warriors or tomorrow's terrorists are today's heroes. Everybody knows these kind of things. So India, even just 3 years ago when they came to power, India was still negotiating with them. There were Indian interest who were operating within Afghanistan. Even in those periods, we have news from 3 years ago, 2 years ago, where Indians were making moves in Afghanistan to normalize or create some kind of understanding between the Taliban, Afghanistan, and India. And we very well know that because of the history with Pakistan in the 1980s and 90s, the Afghans not very big fan of the Pakistanis, and according to me, for the very right reasons. Pakistan, with the support of Americas, literally bombed that country for 30 years. So it makes sense why they would be very angry with Pakistan, Taliban government or previous government, that understanding that they were used by the Pakistanis for their own interest is a very well understood theory amongst the local population of even Afghanistan. So that remains to be true for the foreseeable future. And India believes that this strategic move that even China is trying to play with the help of Pakistan or with the help of Bangladesh now. I don't know which way Bangladesh will go, but at the moment, I think China supporting Pakistan to create a two front issue within India is beneficial to them. So I believe India also believes that if they have some strategic depth kind of thing between India and Taliban, it will be beneficial to India. So I don't know if it's a right thinking or wrong, but that's my understanding.
How
And
is how
India,
is Aditya? How is Taliban government beneficial to you guys? Like, make it make sense. Like, they don't even have any
so
border with you guys,
so
other
so
than that it
may,
borders with Pakistan.
maybe we don't have a border now, but our map sure does have a border with Afghanistan, right? So
No. That's a dream that's
That's
never
not
coming true.
happening. That's not happening. No go
but
to India.
maybe not. But even if you consider that we don't share a border with them, we have a port in Iran, and that port is supposed to connect India with Afghanistan also. So I don't believe just a land border is that bigger deal. Even with the Chahabar port, is it's Chahabar port or like Bandaba?
Jawbahar,
What Chahabar is
Jawbahar.
in Pakistan, right?
No, it's in Iran.
That's in Iran.
Yeah. So the
But
Chahabar port
wasn't
that
that
India
wasn't that port
co-developed.
taken back? No, but wasn't that
Not
port taken back
no
by the Iran,
no, it
by the
wasn't.
Iranian
It wasn't,
government?
but there were some issues. But it's still it's still in a partnership with India, and India is already operating it as we speak. And India is developing a train route or a rail route, you can say, between Iran and Afghanistan. So the idea is a very long term idea that India needs to connect India with the Middle East and the European powers, or maybe even Russia through this route. So I don't believe this route is going anywhere. It's a very, very long term plan to counter the ideas of the Silk Route plans that China has. So even if you look at India's manufacturing capacity, the majority of India's manufacturing capacity and what we export and import already comes from ports like Gujarat, which very close to this port, Chabar port, or the Mumbai, or Kerala, or Chennai, which all are closest if you want to connect India to the Middle East The closest place is the Chabahar port, so it's not like, just strategically important. It also makes, like, financial sense, and is the best way to connect India to the Middle East or Europe,
Okay,
by the
I just
I want to.
give me a second.
Okay, go ahead.
Mm,
You go
uh,
first.
Okay. Mohit, you said that if Pakistan think they can isolate us, we can do the same. Technically, we did not do anything. Like we don't have the capacity to do that. For you did it to yourself. You picked a beef with China. You're always bullying Nepal. Bangladesh is a Muslim country. Maldives, you have your forces there. Sri Lanka, its own situation. So you pick those fights. Pakistan you don't like because apparently it's your Akhand Bharat and you want your land back. So you pick these fights yourself. We did not do anything. That's all I have to say.
Okay,
Can I?
I also wanted to answer that same question, and it's very interesting. I think the target of isolation was held by India, and they wanted to isolate Pakistan. That was part of their official strategy. Jaishankar has been on quote in making that statement for more than 2.5 years. He's consistently said that. Modi stated that as well. On top of that, that's been stated by Mr. Shah as well, and and that Mr. Shah is obviously not me, right? On top of that, I thought I should reiterate that I might be quoted at some stage, and anyhow, the point and the fact of the matter is, the irony is, India's target was to isolate Pakistan, but post this war, it's extremely interesting to me that India ended up isolating itself. You can't boycott Turkey and Iran as well as anyone, like now they're talking about
Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan. They're abusing Donald Trump and United States, and it's coming in your mainstream media. If that was not enough, anyone who visited Pakistan, the social travel vlogger, I don't understand how that woman who's just a vlogger, uh, even if she was connected to some Pakistani officials, what state secret would she even have to give somebody? She was not exactly working for RAW or anything else, but it's rather interesting in that way how the situation is playing out right now. And I just think the Indian government seems to be extremely confused, and they don't know how to control their own population. That's my take on that.
Look,
And
Also, Gaurav Arya.
can I answer that, Saji?
Give me a second. Give me a second, Madara. Also, Gaurav Arya made these comments about the Iranian foreign minister, which was noticed by the Iran foreign minister. So, if you have a port there, which I just read, yes, there India controls that. How can you make such comments about their foreign minister? Matlab, what is wrong with you?
go ahead, Madara. And for the rest of the for the rest of the panel as well, when you have something to speak, just speak. This is that section of the conversation where we're just going candid.
Look, India had a good policy. If it really wanted to isolate Pakistan, it really had a good policy before this attack. I never was a supportive of any kind of action because of this terrorist attack in India in Pahalgam. Like we had a very good thing going on. To isolate Pakistan, all you have to do is just just stop talking about Pakistan. That's all you have to do. By attacking Pakistan, this government has completely destroyed its own. You know, I don't know. It's a thing, and also like when you talk about this other thing. Look, with the Taliban, it's not the Taliban that India supports. It's like you have to be engaged with any kind of power which is there in Afghanistan. I think in that way, I think India is India is a very positive influence on Afghanistan. Of course, like I remember, like one time, not one time. It was when Taliban took Pakistan. I was in clubhouse. I was in one clubhouse.
Taliban took Pakistan.
No, sorry. Taliban took Afghanistan. So there was Abdul Basit. He was in the clubhouse space, and he was so proud. He was like, he's full jubilant. Now, like when you Pakistanis say that, oh, why India is talking to Pakistan, I think you are hypocrites. You guys enjoy Taliban all your life. You supported them.
We never claim stuff. You do realize we never claim stuff that, oh, India export terrorism and we are so anti-terrorism. We no problem. We know there is this problem that
But
exists.
you did.
We
expect
don't
that.
pretend to be these
Who's like
anti-terrorists.
no, Maham. I don't know how you can be so. I'm sure you are. You know all this stuff. I mean, there was a Pakistani guy.
I have never been pro-Taliban. I have never been. Even when the Taliban came, I have never been.
I'm not talking
pro-Taliban.
about you. I'm not like you are an individual. I'm talking about Pakistan.
Yeah,
Abdul
most of
Basit.
them were happy.
Look, Abdul Basit is not. It's not you. I didn't say like you are Abdul Basit is Medusa, but I'm just saying that he was a very important guy. He's a very important guy. I mean, he was so celebrating. So now you say that like just because we are talking to Taliban, then we became a Hindutva terrorists who are in cahoots with this Islamic terrorist to to suppress women and all these things. It's kind of bullshit.
No, but then my question to you would be: are you already getting influenced by them? Because like Jaishankar visits the Taliban, he comes back, and then he's hunting for social media activists and social media influencers.
No, I think it's
Are
mostly
you being
because
inspired by them?
no, of course not. Look, most of the people in India, they don't really care about any of this stuff, and the Jaishankar meeting, a Brahmin guy from India meeting Taliban, it does not have a big political thing in India. It does not have any kind of relation, any kind of like impact in Indian politics, or it's just some guy meeting. Look, he's just willing to say that we were. Look, I think what the government is willing to say is that we are going to induct Taliban to inflict some wound on Pakistan. Yeah, I think
That's
that is
state
the
terrorism.
No. I
That's
think
terrorism.
no. Wait. That's the political message, but no one buys this shit in
That's
India.
fine. That's fine. I have another question, and I'm going to ask Aditya this one. So apparently, Jaishankar has gone on quote, and he's basically made that statement that they informed the Pakistani army that they're going to attack, and as a result, the Pakistani army should not be interfering. How does that work, Aditya?
I think that statement was for the local Indians' consumption and for their understanding, and a lot of people.
Aditya, that's backfiring. A lot of people are
That
questioning the
is,
fact that that this is treason, that he've already informed people that were attacking you. That is
but
almost treason.
but advantage with such nationalist kind of governments and these people have is that their loyalties can never be questioned, because these are the people who are questioning everybody. So you, of course, you can't question them, their loyalties, right, where they lie. So these people can easily get away with any statement that they make, and they will give you the rationale that you expect the oppositions to give, right? So he can tell you that Pakistan was, even if he did not say it, they were already expecting us to do something about it, right? So they can always make that statement, and I'm pretty sure, let's be honest, even Pakistan was already anticipating and attack from India. So it's not that he made some kind of statement that Pakistan did not anticipate. So it was pretty obvious. Even the statement that I told you about Marco Rubio, even he clarified that it will be a limited kind of interaction or conflict between these two countries, and it's from India's perspective, India would attack the places where India believes that these terrorist resides and all these places, and Pakistan will counter. So I don't believe it's that deep, this argument or this understanding.
But
But,
can I
but
say something here?
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think Jaishankar is not like he's a very smart guy. He can deal with a lot of stuff, but I think he has been arrogant since he joined this, this government, and he's just pissing off everyone. And like you should not take every quote of him as I don't know. Like he's not he tried to be intelligent. In some ways, he's intelligent, but also in other ways, like
But
he's
he's
just
but he's
like aggressive
no,
to
what
like.
what you're trying to say is that he's stupid.
No, he's not stupid. He's just unnecessarily aggressive to Europeans for no reason at all, and like India is in a situation that it's not that powerful like China. Also, it also depends so much on Western countries. For him to be so belligerent against these countries, uh, you know, I like Sashi Tharoor. He makes a bit better foreign minister
I
than
agree with
this
you.
guy.
I agree with you, Madara, and I would like to add, if you look at Jaishankar's body language from the time he came to Pakistan for a visit, and if you look at it today, it's all down. And kudos to the Indian people. They seem so innocent at times to me. There were people who were saying, fire this guy, as if it was only him who informed the Pakistani military. I'm sure it must have been other authorities. It's not him who just decided in the middle of the night, oh, poor Pakistanis, let me inform their army we're going to attack. But there we go. Just shows. With that, Harun, are you there? Harun.
Yes, I'm here, Shaji.
So, Harun, how are the Turkish people taking the bashing which is coming their way of boycotting by India? Let's bring you on the table. Are you on the receiving end? How does it?
They're even canceling MOUs with universities and any kind of trade projects. All these private companies are canceling them. I don't know, to get some brownie points.
Well,
Can't say.
I think except when Pakistan and India having tensions and going to some kind of conflicts like in 2019, I think South Asia in general is not a subject in Turkey. People don't know much, and for years I'm trying to explain the situation in South Asia and the whole problems, but it's not in many people's interest. Generally, when you look in Turkey to their foreign policy issues, it's about the Middle East, it's about the European Union, it's about the relations between Russia and Turkey, United States and Turkey. So mostly the issue about Pakistan and India is coming up when even these tensions are coming. Of course, there is also nationalistic rhetoric in Turkey sometimes when these news are coming and Pakistani accounts are collaborating with some Turkish accounts that they are cheering for the situation, etc. And that also, beats on the Indian side, and the whole drama is going on. Let's boycott this and that. But as someone who has lived very long there and know the sentiments, especially from the ultra right wingers, these kind of things are spoken. I remember the first one has started in 2018 when the President Erdogan has addressed in the United Nations among many subjects like the Palestine issue, also the Kashmir issue as a not solved situation, and the United Nations need to act in that favor. So I remember the first boycott calls on that time on social media. Then in 2019, when the Pulwama terrorist attack has happened, and then the Balakot strikes were coming, etc. Again, these boycott calls came because Turkey has also favored Pakistan in that thing. And then I remember in 2020, Amir Khan has visited Turkey, especially the First Lady, because of some charity reasons, and he was bashed and called as anti-India and so on and so forth. But when I look back these 7-8 years, was there anything serious happening? No. I mean, these are only temporary things going on social media, and sometimes when the politics feel themselves very, very much pressured from the more right-wing voter base, they are doing some stunts. But if you ask me if that has any echo on the Turkish foreign policy side, no, because it's not. I mean, first,
Is there a reaction in the public?
yeah, exactly. That same could we say also in Pakistan and India. You know, of course, on the streets, when they follow some news, they have an idea. But if you would ask anything detailed about Turkey and the region, nobody would know anything. You know, of course, there are some curious people, some more educated people, but they have no voice in mainstream media. So it is more about bashing. It's more about bashing a national pride. Yeah, that's the thing.
There's something very interesting as far as Pakistan is concerned. Pakistan already knows its place in the globe, and they know that it's hardly at times the only times they've made it to the headlines is due to the Afghan issue and the Iran issue.
I agree, but I think on the Indian side, because I know the sentiments and how they look to the world, not everyone. Those one you are seeing on the social media, the unnecessary part, I call them. Otherwise, they are very informed people. But these people have no understanding, and I agree with you. Pakistan puts his feet more realistic on the ground than on the Indian side. Maybe it's because there was some kind of development and liberalization after the 2000s. Some manufacturing points were set up, some foreign investments came. And I know the Western Hemisphere very good because we as Turkey, handled them for many decades. We know how they are thinking. When someone, especially in foreign policy, tells you are such a great guy, you will replace this one and that one, actually they don't mean it. They don't mean it. India has also not this image, what they are thinking in, let's say, in United Kingdom, in Germany, in Poland, in Italy. Nobody's caring about that because you must understand the Western Hemisphere of the world is very self-centered. You know it very well. You live there. They are very self-centered, and they are thinking the entire world is roaming around them. In one aspect they are right because they have the economic clout, they have the defense power, etc. But that is not existing in India. But there are many people who are thinking that is existing, but that's not true. For example, for 1 or 2 days ago, there was a conversation on social media going on. One of their social media phenomena were, talking about this Turkish aviation company that they should boycott them. And I was looking totally neutral to the situation because it's a company who employs Indians, works in India, pays its taxes in India, had nothing to do with the Turkish economy. And the worst part was he was mentioning that it was a part of the President Erdogan's daughter, the company. And the only thing where I said, look, you are targeting the wrong company. Actually, I helped them out. I said, that's wrong information. Actually, maybe their other competitor is maybe closer to the president. But then 1,000 of answers. Look, now we hit the nail. You look, the Turkish guy is crying. I mean, I mean, I was drinking my latte macchiato in that time, so it was really so unnecessary for me. I have just corrected, and after seconds, I just continued my life. I mean, we need to be realistic. I understand that we, as in Turkey, we are also emotional people because we are coming from the Mediterranean basin. The Italians are the same, the Greeks are the same, the Spanish are the same. We have also high emotions. Sometimes we are also thinking that we are the center of the world. But I'm always reminding my friends, look, we are no more the Ottoman Empire. That's past. That's gone. That's gone, you know. So maybe in future it could be a regional power, etc. But the same unrealistic things happening also in Turkey. I give you a direct example, and then I will make in parallel with the United States ceasefire. What happened? You know the issue in Syria, right? Turkey has tried to stop the, insurgency, etc., from there, from the PKK. But in overall, we could not move ourselves how we wished it to do. Why? Because the United States is still active in Syria. And I'm telling many nationalistic friends, look, we can do whatever we want. Yes, we are very strong, but we need to be realistic. The superpower of the world is just 15 kilometers away from our border. So you cannot do anything like you want. It's not reality. So the same is valid for Pakistan and India. Like the Indian side is saying, look, Pakistan was, attacked on the nuclear arsenal. They have feared and run to the Americans, and we have informed the Americans. Such conspiracy theorists, nothing to hold in the hand. But the reality is this: Trump needs just to call and to tell to Indians, look, you're getting $100 billion foreign remittances. I just need to just adjust the banking rules in the United States a bit, and then it's over. Just a bit, just a regulation change, or just removing some H-1B visas. And the same is valid for Pakistan. Just to remove these visas. That's enough. Just 10 seconds. The United States president needs to call. That is valid for everyone. We don't need to shame ourselves. That is the only superpower. He is ruling the US dollar. Without it, we cannot do anything. Maybe we are speculating about maybe China will replace it, etc., etc. But that is far in future. The reality is now. So as much as we are realistic, so much we can do favors for our own home country. Otherwise, it's just, social media bitching about each other, but that doesn't bring us anywhere.
Harun, do you know that the Greek people are now supporting India because India are anti-Turkish now?
yeah, I know these kind of accounts. But yeah, it's the same. Like, for example, we have a problem with Israel.
Nobody in Pakistan said, "Oh, we're going to boycott Greece." Everybody's like, "Meh."
Actually, many people don't know there is a rising Pakistani community in Greece. There are many working people. So, yeah, that is the same issue. When we have problems with the Israelis, the Greeks are siding with them, for example, etc., etc. But the same is valid for Greece. When I travel there, the people on the streets have not these problems. It's only happening on a surreal world, what we call social media. That's why
fake
I'm
names.
saying always the people don't put so much emphasis on social media.
I'm Harun, going to bring your attention to something which did not happen on social media, and that is the term Vishwaguru. Vishwaguru, as basically translating to, I think it's a Hindu term. My Indian friends will be very familiar with that. That's what Modi has been promoting. That's what Shah has been promoting. That's what Adityanath has been saying. And that's something which Jaishankar, in his arrogance, basically made statements about, and that basically means a superpower, global superpower. And I think they overestimated the power of India. It was expected that when Trump is going to come into power, Trump is going to say to Modi, "Come here, my friend, and I shall basically sort you out. And please fix the relationship. You have maintained a very good relationship with Putin, and hence you are going to mediate. Trump did not even ask India to mediate in the ceasefire. Not only that, it was a very clear statement. The analysts in India, as well as the politicians, were thinking that the Gaza issue is going to have a huge involvement by them, and Israel is going to ask India to be a mediator. Now, Trump and Israel asked China to mediate, but they forgot to mention India. Now, on the third angle, what is really interesting, and I think that is something which has happened, is India assumed it could basically flex muscle in its own region and at least emerge as a regional superpower. And what's happened with this fiasco is that thing has shattered India's ambitions in terms of portraying that to their own people has shattered. The government doesn't know what to do with the illusion they created with a certain segment of their society. And they do not realize that when Pakistan and India were in conflict, in those 90 plus hour war, or so-called head-to-head, a face-off, basically it didn't even make the front pages of most newspapers in the Western world, including the United States of America. And it's very sad in that way. And that is a huge wake-up call, because the majority of the countries were very, very neutral between the entire fiasco. And majority of the situation in terms of how and where India finds itself after that is it seems to be isolated itself. It's isolated itself. No country has isolated or boycotted India. India managed to isolate itself, and their image has completely been shattered.
Most of these countries wouldn't even care if we didn't have the nukes. Like, they're scared of the nuclear thing. Otherwise, if India and Pakistan didn't have that, nobody would care if we're going to war. People won't even say all eyes on Pakistan or all eyes on India.
Oh, there's another thing. This is a very interesting thing by Mohit, and a lot of Indian friends keep saying that in those hills. What are those hills called, Maham? Kanara Hills? Kirana Hills. Kirana Hills. Kirana Hills. Yeah. The Kirana Hills were attacked, but according to the international watchdog, which looks at radiation leaks and stuff, they've come out with a statement that there is no radiation leak in Pakistan. So that has been clarified now in those ways. With that, I'm going to go to final.
India would have been in a lot of trouble if there wasn't a radiation leak because of that treaty that India and Pakistan have signed.
So with that, we'll go to the final comments. First comment, first person we're going to go to is Madara, who's always complaining that we don't give him enough time. So do the honors, Madara. Where do you see this headed? Go ahead. Closing statements. Madara.
Can I ask just one question to the Harun?
Yeah, go ahead.
Harun, do you think? I think you follow the Indian politics. Modi is a right-wing nationalist. How do you compare him with Erdogan, who is also a right-wing nationalist?
Actually, we have spoken before, and it's a very interesting subject. When I came first time, Madara, to India, I have understood the Turkish politics much more, because there were some similarities, especially regarding some kind of history revisionism and the fight between two ideologies, the fight, among the seculars and the more religious Hindu followers, etc. So there are also similarities between the leadership. I think there are some kind of elements which I find it similar to the now leader, the President Erdogan and Modi. And interestingly, despite these lukewarm relations, when they meet each other, they have actually a very good relations. They are hugging each other, etc. So I think
Modi is
uh,
hugging everyone, so don't
no.
forget.
No. I mean, from the perspective of having lukewarm relations with Turkey. Otherwise, I agree with you. He's hugging Melita. He's calling him his friend, etc. So, but I think these are the new models in the world. If you look to Trump, to President Erdogan, or Modi in India, or the new some elected ministers like in Poland or Hungary, Orban, etc. So this is a new wave of more populistic approach, where they maybe also copy each other. I don't know what we can call, but I think there are similarities, Madara. I agree there. But when we look for the conservative part, that was also a subject last time we have talked with Shaiji. The Turkish conservatism is a bit more closer to the European way of life in an Islamic way. So most of the South Asian Muslims, or even in the Middle East, it would be still not enough Islamic from their perspective. In South Asia, it is more, for us, more conservative, be it Hindus or Muslims, it doesn't matter. So I would make only a difference there, but their approach to politics is very similar.
Yeah, thanks. It's about identity politics, right? You're Muslim, so you convert
Yes,
the
identity politics. Maybe we have not much. So I think the
you like
minorities in that regard.
like so it's okay to convert this museum which was Hagia Sophia
Yeah,
to
that
a
is also
mosque
some,
again. Yeah.
exactly. That is also some kind of, identity politics coming from past. Like people are saying, the old system have stolen our pride past, etc. We need to reconstruct that. Even if you remember, there was this talk when the Babri Masjid decision came out from the Supreme Court, if I remember now. And there was this talk on social media between the pros and contras. People with pros were saying like, but the same happened in Turkey. You did not
Yeah,
say
I don't
anything about
know.
it.
So, like, then why are you saying we are more conservative? You are as conservative as we are.
No, that's something different. I mean, the European way, I have told it, because the
No,
same
you
time
you
is
are you are not
happening.
European. Like I live in Germany. I know how people look down
Look,
on
when you listen, when you live
Erdogan.
in Germany, because I grew up there and served for the German army, I tell you, when you listen to, for example, an AfD supporter or even a CSU supporter from Bavaria, eye to eye, they have these conservative feelings about many things similar. What I'm trying to tell is the radical part is more moving towards Asia because of the educational issues. So there are some limits in Turkey, what you can do and what you cannot do. And yes, the politics have tried to overcome these limits, but it has faced a lot of problems, even among conservatives, because they are more used into the system now than to change it, for example, more into a version of Sharia or something like that. That would be very difficult. So they're making this identity politics mostly for the last remaining 2-3% of more radical or conservative thinking people, but they are not enough to change anything at the end. That was what I mean. Otherwise, they are very similar.
Okay,
Oh,
I just make my last comments.
yeah, so
So
make your last comments, Madara, so we can all do that.
look, it's a very strategic mistake by India to get involved with Pakistan because of one terrorist attack. We will face terrorist attack in India, whether it comes from Pakistan or not. But to go to attack Pakistan in that way without any solid proof is a very strategic blunder because Pakistan will suffer more from isolation uh, without India than any kind of attack that we like. What did we attack? Like we didn't do much. there is really no guarantee that that we will get some
You
kind
lost
of
2 Rafales.
no,
Maybe.
yeah,
That's a lot of money.
whatever, look,
600
whatever.
million.
Look, even without with that and without that, even if you say that Pakistan, gunned down 7 aircraft, and if India say, okay, we didn't lose anything, but we attacked, even with all that victory, India is the one which is strategically losing. Even with all the victory, even with the no loss from India's side, but all the loss to Pakistani side, even with all of that, it's India's loss, because all it does is to put Pakistan in international forums, makes you look good. India looks like an aggressor. India was never an aggressor in this
And
kind
you
of
should, and
conflict.
India should always pick a fight with someone their own size, right? Which is
Yeah.
China.
Come on, Maham. We are not we are like 10 times lower than China. What the fuck are you talking about?
Don't use the F word, man. Don't use the F.
Okay.
But you have a higher population.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like we are like we are like I don't know. I think 6 times lower GDP than
GDP
China.
I
does
mean,
not bring
most of
muscle.
GDP per
most of
capita.
those, Shaji, most of that population lives in slums. So
No, that's not a nice thing to say, but there we
no,
Yeah.
but
But I
can
think
you see?
I think we
Look,
should
look,
should
Maham, you also have to look. I don't live that life, and Maham, you also don't live that life, and Saji also don't live that life. Let's not laugh about
yeah,
our own people.
that's not
You know,
not nice.
your people's GDP is 50% or 60-70% of India's
Of course,
GDP.
I understand that.
So let's
Yeah, but
not laugh about this
Let
bullshit.
him have his
go
fight.
around. No. Here's the thing: we don't go around pretending to be something that we're not.
Which one?
When India made their space. Look, listen to me. Listen to me. When India made that space, did that space, Chandrayaan, most of the Pakistani said, like, okay, you know what, India is way out of our league now. It's gone too far. We're not their level. But then you start these things with us, and we're like, okay, fine. So it's kind of weird.
Look, we are not here to dominate anybody, not
Yeah, exactly.
Pakistan, Bangladesh, or anybody. Okay, the thing is, why I don't know. It's very strange to talk to you. The thing is, for a very long time, Pakistan's real identity is it's not India.
It's fine.
Maybe
But
Maham and Saji, you are
I
not
know.
the same, but like it's been that case. And
Make your
Kashmir always have been like a big problem. There is always look. We tried a lot of times. Even Vajpayee came to Pakistan trying to make peace, but it didn't work out. We had Kargil. So you have to also look into your own country and see like where it is going wrong. What you teach your children in the schools. Because my friend in Germany told me that he's from Pakistan, from Karachi. He said that like when he was in school, like he was taught to hate Hindus and India. So maybe
right.
you also have to look into that.
That might just be his own school. I was
No,
never taught to hate India.
He is from a very
No, but
prominent like.
you have to be fair. There are a lot of people in Pakistan who do
There's
hate.
no. Listen to me. Pakistani and Indian, there will always be certain kind of hate. But if Madara comes to Pakistan, nobody will mistreat him just because he's an Indian. Can say about now, but
That's not
before
the
that.
same thing. Look, that what you teach as a to your
Everybody,
children,
no,
matters a
Madara,
lot.
listen to me, Madara. So you most probably you're talking about our Pak study books, right? Where there is everything about war, 1971, and the independence and everything. And I understand where you're coming from, but every country the British, UK, US, every country teaches their history in a
Do
way
you
where they
teach?
don't
Do
look
you
like
look?
the bad
Do you
people.
teach? Look, do you teach your children Hindus are scheming people and the Indians are
Nobody teaches that.
dirty or something like this?
Nobody ever, no, we've
Look,
not been
look,
taught that.
look.
We just, just a little
I
messing
think you
with
do that.
the historical stuff in Pak studies, where we read
No,
the history
but
of
there
Pakistan
is a
and India.
notion
That's it.
in we
No
have to be
physical
there.
stuff being
No,
mentioned
no,
there.
no. But there is a fair bit of this within Punjab, and I've seen people think that because Indians are vegetarians, they're not strong and all that
Yeah, but
kind of
it's
stuff.
not taught in schools. They're not taught in schools. That's
Put
just a
it-
It is
mindset they
taught in
have.
schools. It is taught in schools.
No, no, it's
No,
not
it's
taught in schools.
not.
No,
No,
nobody
Can
it
we,
teaches
is.
can
that.
we, can we, it's already a 1 hour 21. Can we
Yeah,
just
we want to
get
go
the
for a
last
close,
statement and
man.
then we
So,
complete it?
so
Thank you.
with that, thank you very much, Madara, for your final comments. And let's not rebut Harun when he's making his final comments, please. Harun, go
Well,
ahead.
whenever I am between Indians and Pakistanis, the same happens at the end of the I mean, I mean, I think I think this group has more intellectual capacity to talk the things in a more realistic basis than going India versus Pakistan and this and that. You are better in this and you are worse in this. I mean, um, yeah, especially when we look from the issue from the wealth part, all three countries are not developed as like they deserve. I call it. I think they deserve more to distribute the wealth equally among their people. But sadly, until today, it's more investing into defense and fighting in conflicts and caste issues and religious issues. That's why, at the ending, I just want to give my wish that I dream three powerhouses: Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, who has good relations with each other, are developed, has an educated population, and their only, worry should be the future of their kids. I think that is my wish. Because they are very similar people. I have seen all the sides of this subcontinent, and they are very really nice people, just like also Maham explained about Pakistan. So I think I just hope that through prosperity, that the problems also vanish with time. That's my wish. Thank you very much for giving me the mic, and thank you to all for this great conversation. Madara, Shaji, Aditya, and Maham. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aditya. We're going to come to you. Final comments, Aditya.
So I think the if we are talking about the South Asian thing, then I think it's a very, at least in India, like YouTubers are getting caught, and India is like breaking up, like trades with Turkey and Azerbaijan. India is making a lot of moves, like in the aftermath of this conflict between India and Pakistan. So I think it's not the best time to be a liberal or to be a leftist in India. Uh, your ideas are challenged, and it's a saying in geopolitics that times of conflict are the times when civil liberty is the one which is, like destroyed the most. Even if you look after 9/11, like the Patriot Act happened in America, where they could like tap your phones, or they can take your personal records. Even in India, in the times of these conflicts, India has banned a lot of, like probably hundreds or thousands of Pakistani Twitter handles, YouTube channels, Instagram influencers. Even a lot of, just learned today that a lot of music artists are being blocked on Spotify to just yesterday. I don't believe it's just about people who are propagating their agenda about this conflict, or it's about trying to punish these people through these means, which is very sad according to me. I'm not a big believer and supporter of these actions. If you want to block the channels, you must and you should, but the ones who are propagating these agendas and their theories. So that's my final comment. But I don't believe it's the right time to be rational in India. It's a sad state of affairs in India. So let's see. I hope things become better, things improve. That's the only way. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. I will make my final comments as well. So I would just like to basically say I think the Indian government in this case has completely failed in terms of their own people, and now they're trying to make a realization in terms of how it should be, and they're finding it hard to cover things up. It's more of a damage control. As far as Trump's visit to the Middle East is concerned, I think it's more about, in my opinion, I know others would not agree, it's more between China and US rather than the Middle East, and you're going to see a lot of that. On top of that, one final thing, I'm 30 plus and I do have hair, so I can go like that and I can go like that, and it's completely fine. You can be jealous. Uh, it's all good, and I can go like that, and it's all good.
Okay, Shah.
So thank you very much. Go ahead, Mom. Go for a close.
All I'm going to say is that Donald Trump is running America like a personal business, and I think he's in Saudi to broker some business deals, and it's going to take down America. But let's see. Other than that, talking of all the stuff about how you're all about peace and Pakistan is exporting terrorism and then going back and become friends with certified terrorists, that is very rich of India. That's all I'm going to say. See you next time. I will come with another topic. Until then, have a good day, good evening, and good